y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode, we're going to do our predictions for All In. Now, if you don't know what All In is, I don't know why you clicked on this video, but it's basically the biggest independent wrestling show in at least the last 25 years, and probably of all time. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win each match. There have been 10 announced matches at the time of this recording. There may be more added to the card, but this is what we have so far. First up for the All-In 0 Hour, they've announced 2 matches, the first of which is the Briscoe Brothers versus the SCU team of Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian. I'm going with the Briscoes on this. I think they want to start off, the Briscoes are going to be the face team in this, and I think they want to start off, especially being on WGN, with a good fans cheering. Although SCU's probably going to get a fair amount of cheers with the crowd as well. I don't know, with a lot of people flying in for the show, I don't know how their shtick of this is the worst town I've ever been in is going to work. It may get massive heat. It may not. Because, like I said, a lot of people at the show aren't actually going to be from the town. So, I do think that the Briscoes are going to win. One, it makes the Briscoes look better being Ring of Honor Tag Champions. I think they do let them win. However, Ring of Honor, since this isn't a tag title match, may use this and may have said, hey, let SCU win so we could use that as a further angle to give them a tag title shot. But I do think the Briscoes win just because I believe they're the faces in this particular match, and I think they want to start it off with faces winning. Next up, we have the Over the Budget Battle Royal. Supposedly there's going to be 15 spots, 10 of which have been named, so we have at least 5 surprises. Now, whether they're major surprises or minor surprises is going to be determined at the show. We could literally have anybody from Cheeseburger to Jushin Liger to really anybody that's not under a WWE contract could be in this match. With that, I'm going to make 2 predictions on this. I'm kind of hedging my bets. If it's going to be one of the guys that's announced with the stipulations that later they get a title match against Jay Lethal, I think Punishment Martinez picks up the win. I think Punishment being the Ring of Honor TV champion going against Jay Lethal is an interesting match and something that if you're watching the free show, it would be something that would entice you to watch or pay for the pay-per-view if you haven't already, or join Honor Club, or however you would do it, but basically buy the show. The second prediction is someone that I have no idea if they're going to be in the Battle Royal or not. I don't know if they're available to be in the Battle Royal, and that is formerly known as Neville, probably going back to his original name, or not his original name, but the name he carried before WWE, and that's Pac. And I think Pac could win this match if he's actually in it. I think it would be a great thing, especially, like I said, for the people that are tuning into WGN that don't quite know independent wrestling. Here we have a face that's been on WrestleMania, been on Monday Night Raw, a face that people know. So, him winning, again, would entice people to say, oh, this guy, Neville, is going to challenge for the Ring of Honor title. Maybe we should buy this. Maybe we should see what's going on with that. I see this as an easy, if he's available and on the show, I could see Pac winning. If he's not, I'm going to go with Punishment. Next up, we have a Chicago street fight. Joey Janela versus Hangman Adam Page. This one I'm kind of torn with. I don't think it's going to be a Bullet Club sweep during the show. And with the street fight stipulations, that more favors Joey. However, this is a show that's been mainly built up on being the elite. And Hangman Page is a guy that they're wanting to, build for the future. You can see in the way he's being booked in New Japan and Ring of Honor that he's a guy that they're really starting to build up as that next guy that could be a potential main eventer. I'm going to go with Hangman here. I think it's going to be a lot closer or a lot more competitive than what most people think. I would not be surprised at all if Joey Janela wins. Just my gut feeling feels that Hangman Page wins, just to help elevate him just that little bit more. And the same could be said for Janela, but I think Hangman Page wins this one. Next up, we have Christopher Daniels versus Stephen Amell. This one, I think Stephen Amell's going to win. And I think this could be a landing spot for Pac as well. If he's not in the Battle Royal, I think he could come out here because we would have the Red Arrow, which is his finisher, versus the Green Arrow. So either he could be on the team of the Green Arrow or against the Green Arrow, if you see what I mean. It's the synergies there. I see Amell winning. I see something happening where either someone distracts Daniels or Amell wins by a disqualification, but I do think Stephen Amell picks up the win. Like I said, I don't see... Not that Christopher Daniels doesn't deserve a big spot, but at this point in his career, he is a bona fide legend, and if we were to be fair about it, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He could stand to lose to Stephen Amell, and he could stand to lose this attraction match, in my opinion. Next up, we have a Fatal 4-Way, and this is interesting because it's going to break ground. The fact that this show is going to end up going on New Japan World means that this is only the second women's match that'll be on the New Japan World streaming service, which is kind of groundbreaking if you really think about it. I don't know what the first one is. I read that tidbit, I believe, in the Observer. So, interesting. We have Madison Rayne versus Britt Baker versus Chelsea Green versus Tessa Blanchard. I absolutely love all four of these wrestlers. I think this is four of the absolute best women's wrestlers, especially on the independent scene. Madison Rayne has been on fire. She's challenged for the Impact title, the Ring of Honor women's title. She's going to be in the Mae Young Classic. She's as hot as she's ever been in her career, and that's not a statement. Don't take me for Dave Meltzer. I'm not making a statement on looks, although all four of these women are beautiful. She's right now as good as she's ever been, and that's saying a lot because she's probably one of the top 2 or 3 women in the history of Impact Wrestling. I mean, you got Gail Kim, her, Angelina Love, and Awesome Kong are pretty much your 4 flag bearers for the TNA Knockouts division. And right now, I think she's as good as she's ever been and as on good of a roll. Britt Baker, probably the least known of the 4, but she's immensely gifted and someone I think that if you don't know her name now, within the next 2 years, you're really going to know who she is because she's going to be one of the top people there is, period. Chelsea Green, we just seen her come off a strong run on Impact Wrestling. Hopefully she does a little bit of the hot mess gimmick. I think that's hilarious. I love it. So there we have another strong competitor. And the person I think that's going to win, the current Impact Knockouts champion, Tessa Blanchard. I think if we're going to be perfectly honest and we add the men and the women together, and we rank wrestlers overall, I don't think you can name me 5 wrestlers in the world that are better than Tessa Blanchard. I mean, in my opinion, she's easily in the top 10 and probably easily in the top 5. I mean, if you have 5 that are better than her, 4 of them are on this card. So, to me, she is the best women's wrestler in the world right now. And that is including the Japanese women wrestlers. And I know there's a lot of people watching this that are going to say, well, that's a crazy theory. But it's my opinion. And I think the total package of Tessa Blanchard, the in-ring skill, the talent, the promo ability, I think that all puts her at a level above everybody else. Just my opinion. I think Tessa wins. Added to the fact that I think Impact Wrestling wants their champion to look strong here, so I think she's going to win, especially with Don Callis being there on commentary. I see them doing the right thing by him and letting her win the match. Next up, we have Kazuchika Okada versus Marty Scurll, the villain. This is intriguing. The way it's been built on Being the Elite, it makes me think that Marty's going to have an upset win. However, in my head, I know that New Japan Pro Wrestling, thinks more highly of Okada than they do of Marty, and this is no knock. Marty's in the junior division, Okada's in the heavyweight division. Plays a little bit off of what they've been doing on Being the Elite. But in New Japan Pro Wrestling, there is definitely a line that you have to actually announce that you're leaving the junior division and joining the heavyweight division to be considered a contender. Like, if you think about it through the years, guys like Jushin Liger never challenged or never was a serious contender for the heavyweight championship. Guys like Ultimo Dragon, all the great junior heavyweights that have been through there, Kushida, just haven't done that. And it's not a knock on their talent. They're all immensely talented. It's just that there's a definite line. They treat it more like a sport, like boxing. The light heavyweight champion in boxing never fights the world heavyweight champion. It doesn't make it less. It just means they're in different weight divisions. And Okada, aside from the fact of the weight divisions and how they want to portray that, how New Japan wants Okada to be portrayed, he's also basically the ace of this generation. So I think New Japan, allowing Okada to be on the show, knowing that this show is going to be on New Japan World, I think Okada picks up the win. I'm going to go with him as my prediction. As much as it seems like they're building it to Marty with the upset win, I think Okada picks up the win for all the reasons I just mentioned. Next up, we have the match that a lot of people are looking forward to. From what I understand, this is probably the most highly anticipated match. And it's one that I think is it's a dream match. There's no other way to say it. Kenny Omega versus Pentagon Jr. Again, you have 2 of the best wrestlers in the world going at it with each other. And this may be our only opportunity to ever see this match. They work in 2 totally different things. Pentagon works with Lucha Underground and Impact Wrestling, some independents. Kenny works with Ring of Honor, New Japan, and some independents. There's not much crossover between the 2. However, we do get this. We do get this dream match, and I'm going to go with... I have to go with Kenny Omega. Again, talking about New Japan influence and how the show is going to be booked, I believe that the people booking this, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, are going to want to do right by the people that are lending them talent, whether it be New Japan, Ring of Honor, or Impact. I think this is going to be a highly competitive match. I think it's going to be one of the matches that afterwards Omega and Pentagon shake hands. But I think Kenny Omega is going to ultimately win just for the fact that he's the IWGP champion and the fact that he is... I mean, I don't think there's a question anymore. Pro Wrestling Illustrated doesn't think there's a question anymore. He's the best wrestler in the world. So, that coupled with the facts that his friends are running the show, I gotta go with Kenny Omega. And there's a caveat on these Bullet Club matches. We could see the Guerrillas of Destiny interfere on a lot of these matches and potentially recruit a new ally into the group, into the firing squad group, because the Guerrillas of Destiny and Haku are both at StarCast. So they might throw a monkey wrench into some of these predictions. I'm going to go with they're not going to be there, but you never know. Like I said, it is going to be aired on New Japan World, so they could use this to further on New Japan storylines as well. Next up for the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship, we have Jay Lethal versus the winner of the Over the Budget Battle Royal. I think this is going to be another one of the matches, like I just said with Omega and Pentagon, where the two guys end up shaking hands at the end. I think Lethal picks up the win, but they use this to build a Ring of Honor World Championship down the line. They use it for a rematch where a guy comes close, maybe the ref got knocked down, something of that nature. And I just think Jay Lethal is way too early in his Ring of Honor career for him, or championship this run, for him to just be a transitional guy from Dalton Castle and whoever. I don't think they do that to Jay. I think he picks up the win. It'll be interesting to see, and it's been highly teased, if he wrestles as Black Machismo Jay Lethal, which I would love. I'd love to see that again. I love when he does that. Jay Lethal's a great wrestler on his own, don't get me wrong. But just bringing that character back every here now and then. Lanny Poffo is a guy going to be in the area for StarCast, so it's synergy again. It could happen. So I think it's going to be great. I think Lethal keeps the title. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Now, the last two matches I flipped because I don't actually know the order, but they've been saying that the next match I'm going to speak of is the main event. However, I have a feeling that there is an actual different main event. So we have the 6-man tag team match, Rey Mysterio, Bandito, and Phoenix versus the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi, the Golden Elite. This match is going to be amazing. A lot of people know of Rey Mysterio. A lot of you guys know of the Bucks, Ibushi, Phoenix, if you watch Lucha Underground or Impact Wrestling. Bandito is kind of the question mark in America. However, having seen him, I think anybody that hasn't seen Bandito, you're going to be blown away with what this guy can do. He is amazing. He is definitely deserves to be in this match. He is on par with everyone that's in this match, and he is an intense, highly skilled, high-flying wrestler. I think this is going to be... This match is... You're not going to be able to blink because it's going to run so fast and so... There's going to be so much happening that it's just going to blow away. It's going to blow everybody away. It's going to be... On a match full of matches, it could be match of the night. This might be the match of the night. This might be the best match on the card. I'm going to go with the Golden Elite, the Bucks, and Ibushi to win. It's their show. Why would they not book themselves to win? On the flip side, they are humble guys, so maybe they don't book themselves to win. But I look at it like this. You have 3 guys that are thrown together against 3 guys that are in a faction together. I'm going with the three guys in a faction together. Which leads us to what I think the main event is going to be and what I think it should be. Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldous for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. I don't have to go into the significance of this match. If you don't understand the significance of this, if Cody Rhodes wins this match, it will be the first time in the almost 100-year history of the National Wrestling Alliance that a father and son have won the World Heavyweight Championship. Let that sink in. Now, I know the last 25 years, or probably a little more, the NWA World Championship hasn't been what it used to be, but this is still the championship that's been held by Ric Flair, Lou Thesz, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Terry Funk, Dory Funk, Ricky Steamboat. I mean, absolute legends have carried this, and even some guys, since its loss of prominence, there have been some highly talented guys that had it. Adam Pearce, Colt Cabana, Steve Corino. I mean, it's been a championship that has it's got a very long lineage, and with Billy Corgan and doing what he's doing, which I love what he's doing with the NWA Championship, the 10 Pounds of Gold series on YouTube is amazing. Having Nick Aldis and Tim Storm before him both tour around with the title and defended in different promotions, they get spot on until they can get a spot on national television. I think it's a great way to use it. That being said, and Nick Aldis, let me just talk about him for a moment. Everybody's preview and everybody that's going to talk about this is going to diminish Nick Aldis. You may not have seen his Magnus run in TNA because it was in a very down time in their history. You may not have seen a lot of his NWA run. Nick Aldis is a top-tier elite pro wrestling talent. If you did a pro wrestling draft and you drafted wrestlers from all over the world, all different companies, Nick Aldis would be one of the first 10 guys drafted. He, to me, his look, his skill, his promo ability, his demeanor, the way he carries himself as champion, he's been amazing. He's been exactly what the NWA needed. The only thing lacking from it, and I don't want this to sound as a passing judgment in a bad way on Nick, because everything I said about him, I think he's amazing. He doesn't have that name value. He doesn't have the name value that Cody Rhodes has. Cody Rhodes is a huge star, whether people know him from his WWE run or what he's doing now. Based on the fact that we have the guy that's created this show, I mean, him and the Young Bucks made this happen. The perfect ending for All In is for Cody Rhodes to be standing in the middle of the ring, holding up the NWA Championship, a championship that his father held, having, just like the old school NWA, old school Jim Crockett, whenever a babyface would win, the other babyfaces would rush the ring. Omega, the Young Bucks, Kota Ibushi, Hangman Page, Stephen Amell come out and all lift them up on their shoulders. And we have that image of Cody Rhodes holding the NWA title, probably crying, to go off the air. That's my pick, it's Cody Rhodes all the way. There's a lot of factors that could go into this. The Gorillas of Destiny could appear here. This is what I was talking about more so than I think the Gorillas will appear on, because I don't think they're going to get Pentagon, but I think they could get Nick Aldis. I think Nick Aldis could join that group, and maybe that's how he keeps the title. Or maybe something happens with Bernard the Business Bear, who I believe is what Flip Gordon's going to end up being. Either Flip's going to show up there, or he's going to show up in the over-the-budget Battle Royal in a different gimmick other than Flip Gordon wearing a mask or a disguise. Because I do think Flip's going to get on the show somehow, some way. I've seen some interesting suggestions, and we're off on a tangent now that we've covered the previews for Flip. I've seen someone suggest him wearing the El Generico gear and winning the Battle Royal, and then facing Lethal as El Generico, or unmasking to say that he was El Generico this whole time. I think that's very interesting. I think it's a way to go. It's not the way I would go. There's another way I would go that I'm not going to say here because it may happen. And if it happens, it may actually be from my suggestion. So I don't want to spoil that on how I think Flip's going to come in. But if you're an old school NWA fan and you know the history of Dusty Rhodes in the NWA, there were certain times that Dusty Rhodes could not appear, and I probably said enough for you to put the crumbs together and figure out what I'm getting at. If not, there's the Google machine that you can type into and figure it out. But that's my opinion on Flip Gordon, and that's there's three X Factors I think on the show, and no, I don't think X-Pac's going to show up in X Factor people, although he might. It would be awesome. The surprise entrances in the Battle Royal, who are they going to be? What's the big surprise there? Because I think there's going to be at least one big surprise. Is it going to be Neville? Is it going to be somebody else? Chick Magnet Punk? CM Punk maybe? Maybe Haku or the Gorillas of Destiny get in? Who knows? There's some of the X Factors. I'm 100% certain that Flip Gordon will be on the show in some way. I'm about 30% certain that the Gorillas of Destiny show up somewhere. And I'm probably about 10% certain, and growing more and more less, which means it's probably going to happen, that CM Punk makes an appearance. So, those are my X Factors. But basically, with all that being said, with my long-winded X Factors, my name is George Coles, and this has been my predictions for All In.